Listen up, fam. Back in the day, there were two gangs running the show in Berlin. There was the West Side Gang, which was all about capitalism, money, and freedom. And then there was the East Side Gang, which was all about communism, control, and power. Now, these two gangs didn't get along too well. But when they first took control of the city, they agreed to divide it into their own turfs and stay out of each other's way. Each turf had its own rules, but the people were free to move around from one turf to another. After some time, though, the economy on the east side wasn't doing too well and people started moving west. The east side gang didn't like how the west side gang was doing things, and they were losing people, which only made the economic problems worse. So they built this big, ugly wall between them. The wall was like a symbol of their hatred and distrust for the West. It was also a way for the East Side gang to keep its people under control. They didn't want anyone leaving their territory and going to the West Side, where things were supposed to be better. For years, this wall stood tall, separating the two sides of Berlin. Families were torn apart and people were stuck on one side or the other. But eventually, things started to change. The people on the east side got tired of living under the control of their gang. They wanted the freedom and opportunity that the west side had to offer. So, they started to rebel. They protested, they rioted, and they demanded change. And then, one day, the unthinkable happened. The east side gang decided to tear down the wall. It was like a sign that things were finally starting to change, that the people were finally getting what they wanted. In the end, the Berlin Wall came down, and the two gangs were forced to come together. It wasn't easy, and there were still a lot of differences between them, but they learned to work together and find a way forward. Soon after, the East Side Gang collapsed completely, but that is a story for another day.